All right, man. Let's get to some recruiting stuff here. The Gamecocks are going to be monitoring a decision today at 3:00. Running back Amari Thomas. Where do they stand?
I think they're in a pretty good spot. They're going to find out for sure here about 3:00 when he announces his decision at his high school.
Mm-hmm.
He decommitted from Florida State, I guess 2 weeks ago, was it? And leading up to that decommitment, he was telling everybody that was Carolina or Florida State, and so now he's up for grabs. He put out a commitment graphic and had a few other schools listed on there: Florida, Georgia Tech, Auburn, and somebody else. But yeah, I think Carolina's in a good spot. They've been doing pretty well for a little bit with him.
Give me a report on him. What type of tailback is he? How would he fit in here?
Yeah, he's a fun watch when you turn on the highlights. He's got some make you miss abilities. He's got good speed, some good top end speed. I don't know what he times at from 40-yard dash standpoint or 100-meter or what have you, but he can go, and he's got good change of direction, sort of the total package, if you will. I think he's listed about 185 weight wise, about 5'10", 5'11", somewhere in there. So I'm sure once he gets to the college level and gets into college weight room and nutrition program and all that, he'll probably be somewhere a little north of 200 and be able to maintain all those things that I was talking about earlier: speed and quickness and burst, change of direction, all those fun things that can make a running back a good running back. He's, like I said, he's fun to watch on his highlights, and he's a good receiver too. Catches the ball real well. So we've got him as an 88, high 3-star and 24/7. But to me personally, I could see him as a guy who climbs up before it's all said and done.
If South Carolina lands him, they'll move to number 19 in the recruiting rankings on 3 composite. He would be the only tailback or running back, I should say. Is tailback even a term anymore? Do they still use that? Or no?
I don't know. I mean, fullbacks aren't really a thing anymore for most folks, so I don't think you can call a running back a tailback. Unless there's a fullback out there, then maybe so.
Could be a fullback out there. You never know with a guy like Mo Brown. Fullbacks have been successful around here. He would be the only running back in the class. Are they taking one, or if they find another they like, do you have any news on that?
Yeah, it's been my expectation for a while now that they're going to take more than one running back in this class. Yeah, so whether it's 2 high school guys, I think they would like to try to get 2 high school guys, but as we all know, they haven't been the most successful in recruiting high school running backs over the years, and not just this staff, but that goes back a little ways too. But yeah, ideally they're going to get 2 from the high school level, and of course, if they need to, they'll hit the portal as they've been doing for a few years now at that position. But yeah, I definitely could see them assuming they can get the right guys, trying to get 2 high school running backs.
Any other names on the board that you could mention right now, or do we need to stay away from that for the time being?
Yeah, I mean, there's not anyone really known. I mean, they've got offers out to a bunch of guys who were committed elsewhere. I mean, Carson Baker was the one guy who was at the top of the board for a while, and he committed to Florida over the summer, and he never took his official visit here. Interestingly enough, whether you want to read into it or not, last week when schools were allowed to start officially offering players, like sending out written offers, for some reason that's still a thing. It's basically like, hey, we can send guys a nice looking graphic that says you have an offer. And Carson Baker posted a few from schools, in addition to Florida and South Carolina being one of them. I don't know if that means anything one way or the other for Carolina. He seems to be pretty firm with his commitment to the Gators, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
On the banks of alligator-infested Lake Moultrie lies a town named Cross, South Carolina, turning into a little bit of a football factory. Rod Wilson came out across, as a matter of fact. Kaden Ramsey could be another big name to enter the college ranks. He's a tight end. South Carolina likes him a lot. When is he set to make a decision, and where do the Gamecocks stand?
Well, I don't know if having a Division I prospect makes it a football factory every 25 years. Probably need to cut down.
Competed for a state championship. I'm giving
that's true.
Credit.
They had a good team last year, and I think they'll be really good this year in 1A. Very small school, obviously, at the 1A level. But, yeah, Kaden Ramsey, I went and saw him, met with his coach earlier this week. And no definite date yet, but Ramsey probably is going to be deciding here sooner than later, maybe before the end of this month. And Carolina's in a great spot. Tight end recruit he's a 3-star receiver on 24/7, but he's gonna put on some weight when he gets into college. And he's like 6'5", 200 pounds, 205 pounds, and he's got a lot of a frame to pack on some weight. So he'll be an interesting guy to track as he progresses through his college career, assuming that Carolina gets him. And I think they've got a good shot to do it with Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, and Syracuse is kind of the other options he's got right now.
Man, I tell you what, Michael Flint and I were having a conversation the other day, and you never know how it turns out till the kids get to school and they develop, and you see what type of football players they end up being if they kind of grind it out and stick it out. But these blue-collar South Carolina kids that Shane Beamer and his staff continue to find around South Carolina. I mean, right now you got what is it, Tristan Lewis, Jamel House, tight end from Newberry. I mean, there's a bunch of other guys we could give examples of, but some special athletes and tough kids. You've spent time around some of them, obviously, and they like how they're built. I'm not talking about just like from a physical standpoint. I'm talking about inside of them. This offer means something to them when it comes. They're excited to put on that uniform. More times than not, these kids end up working out for the Gamecocks. You can't build a roster off of nothing but those guys. You have to go out and find, obviously, blue chippers and things of that nature, as you know, Hale. But they're really doing a pretty remarkable job at turning over every rock in South Carolina and finding the best players that this state has to offer, regardless of what rankings show and stuff like that. This could end up being another example of that.
Yeah, he's a really interesting football player, Ramsey. He had 13 interceptions last year.
Whoa.
14 games. Played safety. And, I mean, like I said, he's 6'5", so he's got really long arms. He's a rangy guy at safety. He's going to be a tight end all the way for Carolina for sure. And Clint, I don't know that he's going to get quite up to 250 pounds. But, I could see him playing around 235, 240 and being a bit of a specimen. I mean, he's intriguing. And like I said, I bring up the interceptions to say that he's just a good football player. If you're a 1A, a guy playing at the 1A level and you're potentially an SEC prospect, you would hope that you're putting up some dominant type of stats, and he certainly did that on that side of the ball and had some good numbers as a receiver too. Not to the level of 13 interceptions, whatever that equivalent is as a wide receiver. He wasn't quite there, but yeah, he's an intriguing prospect for sure.
So is Darius Gray. What's the latest on the 5-star offensive lineman out of Virginia?
Yeah, he's got his decision coming up. I believe it's the 22nd. 2 weeks from today, I guess it is. And I think Carolina's in a good spot. I felt that way for a while. LSU's still there, and Tennessee, obviously. Just kind of waiting to see how it goes. How things look when he crosses the finish line on that 24/7 Sports YouTube channel. I believe at 7:00. 2 weeks from today.
Carolina's class won't be large in numbers, like we mentioned. Southern Cal and others, they're signing 60 and 70 kids out of high school. I'm just kidding, probably like 30 or a little bit more than 30, but could be very, very talented. Guys, you put out a little nugget last night on the boards that Carolina is still deeply into conversations with defensive end Julian Walker and Catawba. Well, not still. Joshua Dobson is a 27 recruit, but he's one of the best players in the country, the defensive back out of Catawba Ridge. Thoughts on those guys and maybe what the fall looks like in their recruitment with the Gamecocks?
Yeah, I've said all along and wrote it pretty much immediately after Julian Walker announced his commitment to Michigan that I thought the door was still going to be open for Carolina with him, and the interest is certainly mutual. I would say Sterling Lucas is keeping in touch and trying to keep South Carolina as a contender, and I think they are. So we'll just have to monitor that one as the season plays out, and see which games he shows up to. I mean, with his dad as a member of the strength staff, I would guess he'll probably be at a good many of them. But obviously he's committed to Michigan, so maybe he'll get up there for some visits, and there are certainly some other schools that are staying in touch with him. And one thing we've talked about all along with him, JB, is going back to January, is that he didn't really have much of a recruiting process that started until January, February, somewhere in there. Like he really hadn't been out to a lot of places. He took some unofficial visits before his officials, and so he's been to a few schools, but not like some of these guys who take 10 trips in the summer, then go see like 7-8 different games during the season and all that. Like he's pretty minimal in that regard, but yeah, certainly going to be keeping an eye on him as we have been since 2 months ago when he committed to Michigan. And he, like Carson Baker, has not taken an official visit to South Carolina. So just something to kind of keep in the back of your mind as we get into the fall. Maybe that'll change at some point.
Interesting little nugget. Anything else on the recruiting front that we need to keep our eyes peeled for?
No, I mean, it's kind of those guys that you've asked about at this point, as far as the non-committed guys with Thomas coming up today with his decision, and Darius Gray in 2 weeks, and Ramsey at some point here soon. So that's kind of where things are at right now.
All right. Pat DeMarco mentioned yesterday he's been at practice. He talked about the size of both lines of scrimmage, compared it to the NFL. Coming from a 10-year NFL vet, I'll take his word, no doubt. He also mentioned Nick Harbor. Chris Doring this morning mentioned Nick Harbor as well. He was down watching practice yesterday from Charlotte. You were at a practice today. Last couple of thoughts here. I got to get you out of here. So I got. We have an announcement coming up here in just a second. But what did you see from Nick? And generally, what did you see besides stretching, Hale? We know you saw the stretching. Besides that, what else caught your eye?
Yeah, we got to see quarterbacks throwing a football to wide receivers who are running an actual route.
Wow.
Like it's starting to look like football out there.
Okay.
And so that was cool. Nick Harbor's big, impressive looking guy, and he just keeps getting better. Didn't get to see these guys running routes against a DB in coverage. So I guess that's the next step in the progression, but did get to see those guys moving around. I mean, Donovan Murph had a really spectacular one-handed catch during that little portion of practice that we got to see. So still hoping to get some more info on these receivers as we move along into camp. They've got their first scrimmage tomorrow night, and hopefully we can have some feedback for our folks at the Big Spur, for those members to read about over the weekend, as we hopefully get some intel from that scrimmage, which will be at the stadium tomorrow night.
That's right. Tomorrow night at 6:33 p.m., not 6:34. They will play at 6:33 tomorrow evening at Williams-Brice Stadium. Media will get – yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you know why it's at 6:33?
Well, I've asked this question before, and we were told that they have like specific times for what they want to do pre-practice and scrimmage and this, that, and the other. But I didn't really buy that. I think it's more of a details thing. Am I wrong? What do you have on that?
I had nothing. I was just messing around. I have no clue.
Oh, okay. So there's no like crazy like.
No, there's nothing meaningful behind it, to my knowledge.
Okay, I've asked that before. Like, well, we want them to do this for 11 minutes, and this for 7 minutes, and this for 9. Some sort of science in there, which is fine, but I still think it's an attention to detail thing. Like if they kick off at 6:34, everybody has to run a mile or something like that. But what do I know? Media will get a crack at it again on Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, I should say. That practice Sunday begins at 12:58 p.m.
That's actually, we learned today that's going to be probably a little later in the day, maybe closer to the evening time on Sunday. Okay. In all seriousness.
Okay, more like 6:17 p.m. then, something
perhaps.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay. First 4 periods there, and then Coach Beamer will meet with the media on Tuesday, and that's when he will discuss whatever he chooses to discuss from the scrimmage this weekend, aside from the intel we get out of it. Hale, usually we have you a lot longer, obviously, but we'll let you run on that note. Good report, as always. We'll be keeping an eye on the Big Spur today for the announcement from Amari Thomas and throughout the weekend for details on the scrimmage and additional recruiting nuggets and things of that nature. You do a great job, my friend. Thanks for everything, and we'll check in sometime next week.